Today on MTG Unpacked, we're getting stuck into another Commander Masters Commander deck. This one is Enduring Enchantments. The commander here is Anakthea, Hand of Erebos. So this is a white, black, green deck. And let's see, so lots of enchanting goodness here. So Anakthea from Theros apparently. We've got a 100 card deck with 10 new cards, the Collector Booster Sample Pack, a deck box, 10 double-sided token cards, foil etched display commander, life rule, strategy, insert, and reference card. Okay, so let's get to cracking. So, enchanting to beat you. Yes, the puns continue. Some might say the awful puns. Okay, what do we got here? So we've got the usual punch outs and a divider there. Okay, so we'll set that aside. A nice simple deck box. And let's dump everything out of here. Okay, so we've got a divider. Our life wheel goes up to 40 per usual. Okay, we've got a Collector Booster Sample Pack. The deck itself, but let's see what this is all about. So here we have the Commander Anakthea, Hand of Erebos, and a whole lot of lore there. So that's pretty cool. Nice that they've given them some background and enduring enchantments. So this is how you play the deck. Obviously lots of enchantment synergies here. We've got the rules of Commander. And there's a commander, and I think this was one they had a playmat for as well. So wouldn't mind getting one of those. Okay, so let's get into the Collector Booster Sample Pack. So this deck will set you back about $66 US at the time of filming. That's actually one of the cheaper ones. I do think there is a little more room for the price to drop. I would say anything under 60 would probably be good for this one. So let's see what we got in our sample pack. So we have Blood Chief Ascension. Alright, so nothing too crazy there. And Felwar Stone. Alright, so we will set this stuff aside and get into the deck itself. And by the way, you are probably not likely to pull the same things I did. Maybe you wouldn't even want to out of that Collector Booster Pack, the Sample Pack. Okay, so here we've got our foil etched display commander, Anakthea, Hand of Erebos, with the thick card stock. So you're not going to be shuffling that into your deck. It's purely for display. And then we'll split out the lands here. I think that's about it. Yep, lands and tokens. Pop that over there. And we will get into the deck and see what this one is all about. So we have a foil mythic Anakthea, Hand of Erebos, legendary enchantment creature, demigod. 4/4 for 5 with menace. Other enchantment creatures you control have menace. And whenever Anakthea enters battlefield or attacks, sets up to one target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie creature in addition to its other types. Okay, so even with the enchantments going to the graveyard, you can still bring them back. We have Nasi Fable Singer, legendary creature, human bard, another mythic. 3/3 for 4 with lifelink. Whenever you sacrifice an enchantment, draw a card. And whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that saga's mana value. Okay, so keeping an eye out for sagas in this one. We have Path to Exile, instant for a single white. Exile target creature, its controller may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. We've got Extinguish All Hope, sorcery for 6, destroy all non-enchantment creatures. Okay, so that works in your favor. Kadama's Reach, sorcery arcane for 3, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. And Arcane Signet, artifact for 2, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And of course, we have a Soul Ring, artifact for 1, tap for 2 colorless, And Ash Barrens, a land tap for colorless, basic land cycling 1. We've got a command tower, another land, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Cast out enchantment for 4 with flash. When it enters battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until cast out leaves the battlefield. You can cycle it for a single white. Here we go. So the first saga here, Enchantment Saga, Love Song of Night and Day. So this has read ahead. So choose a chapter and start with that many lore counters. Add 1 after your draw step. Skip chapters, don't trigger, sacrifice after 3. So on the first turn, you and target opponent each draw 2 cards. On the second turn, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. And on the third turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Next up, we've got Omen of the Sun, enchantment for 3 with flash. When it enters battlefield, create 2 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, and you gain 2 life. For 2 and a white, sacrifice it, you get to scry 2. Spirited Companion, enchantment creature dog 1/1 for 2. When it enters battlefield, draw a card. The Eldest Reborn. So this one, another enchantment saga. The first turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Second turn, each opponent discards a card. Third turn, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Then we got a Mind Rack Harpy, enchantment creature Harpy 3/2 for 4 with flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player mills 3 cards. So that just means you put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. So each of the players for that one. The Binding of the Titans, on the first turn, each player mills 3 cards. On their second turn, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. For each creature card exile this way, you gain 1 life. On the third turn, return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. So another enchantment saga. Destiny Spinner, enchantment creature human 2/3 for 2. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. Nice. And for 3 and a green, target land you control becomes an X elemental creature with trample and hasten to end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land. And Farseek, I think this was in one of the other decks as well. Sorcery for 2. Search your library for a Plains, Island, Swamp, or Mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And Font of Fertility, enchantment for a single green. For 1 and a green, sack it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Greater Tanuki, enchantment creature dog 6/5 for 6 with trample. It has channel for 2 and a green. Discard it. You get to search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And they should really call that a raccoon dog. That would be more accurate. We've got County Heart Expedition, enchantment for 2, has landfall. Whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, you may put a quest counter on County Heart Expedition. And if you remove 3 quest counters from it and sacrifice it, you get to search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. We've got a Nessian Wanderer, creature Satyr Scout 1/3 for 2 with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters battlefield under your control, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And Omen of the Hunt, enchantment for 3 with flash. When it enters battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto battlefield, tap, then shuffle. For 2 and a green, sack it. You get to scry 2. And Rampant Growth, sorcery for 2. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. We've got Binding the Old Gods, another enchantment saga. The first turn, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. The second turn, search your library for a forest card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. On the third turn, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. Jukai Naturalist, enchantment creature human monk 2/2 for 2 with lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And Nyx Weaver, enchantment creature spider 2/3 for 3 with reach. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 2 cards, and for 1 black and green, exile it. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. We've got a Satyr Enchanter, creature Satyr Druid 2/2 for 3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. And Golgari Rock Farm, it's a land. When it enters battlefield, it's tapped. And when it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for black and green. We've got another land, Crosan Verge, enters enters tapped. Tap 4 colorless for 2. Tap. Search your library for a forest card and a plains card. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And Battle at the Hell Vault. On the first and second turns, for each player, exile up to 1 target non-saga, non-land permanent that player controls until Battle at the Hell Vault leaves the battlefield. On the third turn, create Avacyn, a legendary 8/8 white angel creature token with flying, vigilance, and indestructible. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out for the Avacyn token. On to the rest of the deck here. We have Boon of the Spirit Realm. Enchantment for 5, has Constellation. So whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a blessing counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each blessing counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm. We've got Ondu Spirit Dancer, creature core cleric, 3/3 for 5. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a token that's a copy of it. Do this only once each turn. And Cacophony Unleashed. Enchantment for 7. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, destroy all non-enchantment creatures. And whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control until end of turn, Cacophony Unleashed becomes a legendary 6/6 Nightmare God creature with menace and death touch. It's still an enchantment. That sounds awesome. We got Demon of Fate's Design. Enchantment creature demon 6/6/4/6 with flying and trample. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an enchantment spell by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. And for 2 and a black, sack another enchantment. Demon of Fate's Design gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the sacrifice enchantment's mana value. And we've got Ghoulish Impetus. Enchantment Aura for 3, enchant creature. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1, has death touch, and is goaded. And when the enchanted creature dies, return Ghoulish Impetus to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. We have Composer of Spring, creature Satyr Bard, 1/3 for 2 with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 6 or more enchantments, instead you may put a creature or land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Good deal. Next we got Nyxborn Behemoth, enchantment creature beast, 10/10 for 12. What? The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of non-creature enchantments you control. As trample, for 1 and a green, sack another enchantment. Nyxborn Behemoth gains indestructible until end of turn. We got Archon of Sun's Grace, creature Archon 3/4 for 4 with flying and lifelink. Pegasus creatures you control have lifelink. Also has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. We've got Felidar Retreat. Enchantment for 4 has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. You get to create a 2/2 white Cat Beast creature token, or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. Grasp of Fate. Enchantment for 3. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls until Grasp of Fate leaves the battlefield. And a Mythic. We got Heliod, God of the Sun, legendary enchantment creature god, 5/6 for 4 with indestructible as long as your devotion to white is less than 5. Heliod isn't a creature, so devotion is the number of permanents you have with white mana on the mana cost. Other creatures you control have vigilance, and for 2 and 2 white, create a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token. And Mesa Enchantress, creature human druid, 0/2 for 3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. Sigil of the Empty Throne, what a surprise, another enchantment for 5. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. We've got Starfield Mystic, creature human cleric, 2/2 for 2. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Starfield Mystic. We got Starfield of Nyx, another Mythic. Enchantment for 5. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty cool. As long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and toughness, each equal to its mana value. Cunning Rhetoric. Enchantment for 3. Whenever an opponent attacks you and or one or more planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. We've got a Doomwake Giant, enchantment creature giant, 4/6 for 5 with Constellation. Whenever it or another enchantment enters battlefield under your control, creatures your opponent's control get -1/-1 until end of turn. We've got a Dreadhorde Invasion, enchantment for 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass zombies 1. So that means put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. It's also a zombie, and if you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. And whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Ooh, another mythic. We got Erebos, Bleak-Hearted, legendary enchantment creature god, 5/6 for 4 with indestructible. As long as your devotion to black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. And whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. And for 1 and a black, sacrifice another creature. You get to give target creature -2/-1 until end of turn. Next up, we've got Abundance, enchantment for 4. If you would draw a card, you may instead choose land or non-land and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand and put all the other cards revealed this way on the bottom of your library in any order. Next up, we've got Arasta of the Endless Web, legendary enchantment creature spider, 3/5 for 4 with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. And Courser of Krufix, enchantment creature centaur, 2/4 for 3. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play lands from the top of your library. Also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And Dryad of the Elysian Grove. This was a good one back in Theros Beyond Death days. Enchantment creature Nymph Dryad, 2/4 for 3. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. Eidolon of Blossoms, enchantment creature spirit, 2/2 for 4. Has Constellation. Whenever Eidolon of Blossoms or another enchantment enters battlefield under your control, draw a card. We've got Enchantress's Presence, enchantment for 3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. And Herald of the Pantheon, creature centaur shaman, 2/2 for 2. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life. And the Mending of Dominaria. So on the first 2 turns, mill 2 cards, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. On the third turn, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, then shuffle your graveyard into your library. That is pretty handy. Next we have Sanctum Weaver, enchantment creature Dryad, 0/2 for 2. Tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of enchantments you control. Next we've got a Sandworm Convergence, enchantment for 8. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. And Cetessan Champion, creature human warrior, 1/3 for 3 with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Cetessan Champion and draw a card. Next we have Vajurin Enchantress, creature human druid, 0/2 for 3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. And Battle for Bretagard, so another enchantment saga. On the first turn, create a 1/1 white human warrior creature token. On the second turn, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. On the third turn, choose any number of artifact tokens, that's right, and or creature tokens you control with different names. For each of them, create a token that's a copy of it. And we've got a Planeswalker here, legendary Planeswalker, Calyx Destiny's Hand. So 4 loyalty for 4. His +1, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The -3 ability, exile target creature or an enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. And the ultimate -7, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. And Culling Ritual, sorcery for 4, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less, add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. And a mythic, Mirari's Wake, enchantment for 5, creatures you control get +1/+1. And whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Next up, we've got Sithis Harvest Hand. Legendary enchantment creature nymph, 1/2 for 2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Okay, so then we will move on to the mana base here. Probably pretty crappy tap lands, so this is something you might want to consider upgrading. We have Canopy Vista. It's a land, forest, plains, tap for green or white, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Exotic Orchard, a land, tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Fortified Village, as it enters battlefield, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield, tap for green or white. Necro Blossom Snarl, as it enters battlefield, you may reveal a swamp or forest card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield, tap for black or green. And Shine Shadow Snarl, as it enters battlefield, you may reveal a plains or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield, tap for white or black. Sungrass Prairie, another land, for 1, tap, add green and white. Temple of Malady, enters tap. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, tap for black or green. Temple of Plenty, same deal, but for green or white. Temple of Silence, tap for white or black, so same as those others basically. Oars of Basilica, enters battlefield, tapped, and when it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for white and black. We've got Sandstep Citadel, enters tap for white, black or green. Selesnya Sanctuary, enters battlefield, tapped. When it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for green and white. We got Tainted Field, tap for colorless or tap for white or black. Activate only if you control a swamp. Tainted Wood, so another one, same as the last one, but for black or green. And then basic lands, we have plains, 6 of those, swamps, 5 of those, forests, 8 of those. Okay, so there is our land. Let's take a look at the tokens. So we got a copy token on the other side, a 1/1 human soldier. Copy and soldier, okay, copy, and on the back of this one we got a 1/1 flying bird. Okay, another copy token on the back of this one. Here we go, Avacyn, 8/8, legendary creature, angel, flying, vigilance, and indestructible. I like the artwork on that one. We've got a copy and a 2/2 flying Pegasus, a copy token, and a 4/4 flying angel. All right, very cool 2/1 cleric token enchantment creature. On the other side, we've got a 2/2 cat beast, an elf warrior 1/1. On the other side, we've got the cleric 2/1, human warrior 1/1. On the other side, we have a zombie army. Here we go, 0/0. A worm token 5/5. On the other side, we've got a spider 1/2 with reach, and parts of the turn and popular magic formats. Okay, so this one is jam-packed full of enchantments and enchantment synergies. Like I said, upgrade, easy upgrade here would probably be upgrade the mana base. It's usually full of tap lands, so this one's no exception. And I like how you can get stuff back from the graveyard, and you've also got things that are counting the number of enchantments. So this one looks pretty decent. Like I said earlier, much cheaper than the first 2 we looked at. So let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Are you planning to pick it up? And stay tuned, we've got one more Commander deck from Commander Masters. I'll pop a link in the corner in case you've missed any of those videos. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.